In the headlines, terrorists dressed in women's clothing attack checkpoint, kill 2 police inspectors in Katsina. Days after fresh unrest in Plateau State, victims recount harrowing ordeal. Supreme Court upholds 5-year sentence of Farouk Lawan. And on the foreign scene, ECOWAS says aircraft technical problems at Abuja Airport scuttle delegation's trip to Niger. Hello and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. Hello, welcome. Thanks for staying with us. Now the news in full. 2 police inspectors have been killed by gunmen suspected to be terrorists who dressed in hijab at a checkpoint in Gurubin village along Jibia Batsari Road in Katsina State. A credible security source said the officers were killed by the suspected terrorists Thursday evening. He explained that the hoodlums, after killing the police joint border patrol inspectors, carted away their rifles, leaving behind their operational vehicles and tear gas at the checkpoint. Our reporter in the state, Abdullah Yamadi, gives an update on the attack.
The incidents occurred around 5:30 Thursday evening, and this recent attack sparked fear and apprehension not only among the residents of Jibia and Batsari local governments, but also the entire state, because you may recall that just last week some terrorists riding on motorcycles dressed in hijab opened fire on a police checkpoint at Sakijiki village of Batsari local government, killing 1 mobile police officer on the spot. So the 2 attacks show that the bandits are highly sophisticated and are changing tactics at every slightest opportunity to deceive security operatives and attack them. In fact, some residents of Gurbi Magaria, where the Thursday's attack happened, are suspecting that it is the same gang that killed a policeman at Sakijiki village that killed these 2 police inspectors at their community. So this is the situation. And of course, Gurbi Magaria is a community between Jibia and Batsari local government and on Jibia Batsari Road. And of course, the 2 local governments have received more than their share of bandits attacks over the last 1 decade. The police public relations officer in Katsina, ASP Sadiq Abubakar, while confirming the attack to Trust TV, said the police inspectors were on border patrol before paying the supreme price. He also said securities on the trail of the culprits, assuring that they will be brought to book soonest. So this is the current situation. And of course, we'll continue to follow this story and report them as the situation unfolds.
That was our reporter in Katsina State, Abdullah Yamadi, with an update on the situation. Still insecurity in the aftermath of the devastating attacks that claimed numerous lives and resulted in substantial property losses. Survivors in the Mangu local government area of Plateau State are sharing their harrowing experiences. The ethno-religious crisis in Mangu unfolded on Tuesday, persisting through Wednesday, with reports highlighting an alarming escalation in the death toll. As the community grapples with the aftermath, survivors are giving first-hand accounts, shedding light on the impact of the tragic events that unfolded. Adomusa has more on the report.
Hundreds of people, including women and children, were reportedly displaced following Tuesday and Wednesday violence, a situation that necessitated the imposition of a 24-hour curfew. The police on Thursday say they have arrested 9 persons in connection to the crisis in Mangu, adding that more personnel will be deployed as part of a special intervention to restore and maintain law and order. Some of the survivors of the crisis narrate their ordeal. We were sitting in our community on Thursday morning when we started hearing gunshots. The gunmen were approaching our community, and eventually a bullet hit my hand, causing blood to start flowing. It was a very terrible experience. We are calling on the federal government to rise up to the occasion. What happened in Mangu should not just be condemned, but to investigate the plan against us.
We don't know what we have done to the attackers. What have we done to deserve what we're witnessing today in Mangu? What is our offense? They killed my son for no reason, made his wife to become a widow and his children orphans. We were in the village before this incident, but our houses were burned. We later fled to Mangu town. Now the only room we were managing has also been burnt. We are calling on federal government to deploy more security personnel to save our lives.
The recurring violent clashes on the plateau are signposting a breakdown of social cohesion between members of the community along ethno-religious lines. For now, the situation appears to be under control as survivors pick up the pieces of their lives. Adon Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Still on security, the Special Military Task Force, Operation Safe Haven, says it has arrested some suspects in connection with the recently deadly attacks in Mangu local government area of Plateau State. The media officer of the task force, James Oya, discloses in a statement issued in Jos and made available to newsmen on Friday. Oya, who did not disclose the number of the suspects, said the task force also recovered some dangerous weapons during a raid of the area. He condemned the civilian attack on Air Force personnel and military facilities at Kerang community deployed to enforce the 24-hour curfew in the locality. He promised that the OPSH personnel and other security agencies would remain professional in the discharge of their constitutional duties. In a coordinated operation, combined forces from the 82 Division, Nigerian Army, Navy, Air Force, Nigerian Police and Nigerian Security Defense Civil Corps successfully cleared multiple camps of the indigenous people of Biafra on its armed affiliate Eastern Security Network along Umulolo, Umukele, Amosu and Abobo in Okigwe local government area of Imo State. According to an official Army statement released on Thursday, the troops encountered improvised explosive devices en route, stormed and destroyed terrorist hideouts and conducted searches of buildings used by the group. During the operation, evidence of terrorist activities, occult practices and acts of cannibalism were discovered. The troops also dismantled the ID-making factory. Items recovered included rank badges of 2 kidnapped policemen from Enugu-Port Harcourt Road, Biafran currencies, fake US dollar bills, Biafran Liberation Army t-shirts, and other insignia. Additionally, military kit bags, cables for IED detonation, and axes were seized. 2 suspects were apprehended, and the charred remains of murdered policemen were recovered for proper burial. In Owerri Metropolis, troops on night patrol thwarted a kidnapping attempt by suspected IPOB ESN terrorists, engaging them in a gun duel and forcing them to abandon the victim. The security forces recovered an AK-47 rifle and magazine, a G3 rifle with mounted magazines, and the vehicle used by the terrorists. The Lagos High Court sitting in Ikeja has convicted and sentenced the founder of Irene Christian Ministry in the Lekki area of Lagos, Bishop Feyiropo Daniels, to life imprisonment for the rape of one of his church members. Both prison terms are expected to run concurrently, and his name will be registered in the Sexual Offence Register of Lagos State. The bishop was accused last year of raping his church member at his Lekki residence. He was also accused of having sexual relations with 3 other women to whom he had given the amount of 100,000 naira to one for hospital treatment, paid school fees for another, and related with the last woman as a leader in the campus fellowship affiliated with his ministry at Akumba Akobo in Ondo State. The Supreme Court has affirmed the 5-year jail term handed to a former member of the House of Representatives, Farouk Lawan, by the Court of Appeal. Lawans convicted and sentenced to prison in 2021 for accepting a $500,000 bribe from businessman Femi Otedola, chairman Zenon Petroleum and Gas Limited. In a unanimous judgment on Friday, a 5-member panel affirmed the 2022 judgment of the Court of Appeal, which upheld Lawans' sentencing to 5 years in respect of only count 3 and the 3-count charge on which he was tried at the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory. In the lead judgment, prepared by Justice John Okoro, but read on Friday by Justice Tijani Abubakar, the Apex Court found that Lawans' appeal was without merit and proceeded to dismiss it. The Rivers State House of Assembly has voted to override Governor Siminalayi Fubara and pass 4 new bills into law. This happened during plenary on Friday at the House of Assembly quarters after the Speaker of the House, Martin Amewole, read 4 letters addressed to him by the governor wherein he declined his assent to the 4 new bills which had been sent to him. The House, relying on Section 100, subsection 5, said the assent of the governor is not required for the passage into law of the said bills. The section stated that, quote, where the governor withholds assent and the bills is again passed by 2/3 majority, the bill shall become a law and the assent of the governor shall not be required, end of quote. The 4 laws passed are the Rivers Local Government Amendment Law, the Rivers State Traditional Rulers Amendment Law, the Rivers State and the Rivers State Funds Management and Financial Autonomy Law. In anticipation of the upcoming rerun and by-elections, stakeholders are preferring suggestions aimed at helping Nigeria's electoral body, INEC, regain public trust. Trust Survey's Sagre Ibrahim explores the recommendations in a feature report engaging with stakeholders ahead of the February 3rd rerun and by-elections scheduled to fill vacant elective positions across state and federal constituencies.
According to a survey by the Afrobarometer team in Nigeria, led by Noipolls in 2022, only 23% of Nigerians say they trust the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) somewhat or a lot, while more than 3/4, that is 78%, express just a little or no trust at all in the election management body. The report also found that trust in the INEC has declined by 12 percentage points since 2017. On the 2023 general elections, the European Union Observer said in its final report that Nigeria's general elections was marred by problems that reduced public trust in electoral processes. It added that reforms to enhance transparency and accountability are needed. Ahead of the forthcoming rerun and by-elections on February the 3rd, stakeholders are keen on seeing Nigeria's electoral umpire, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), improve on some of its processes to boost public trust while delivering its responsibilities. To achieve this, Executive Director of the International Press Center, Lanre Arugundade, feels that political parties should be held more accountable. He explains that political parties and security agents are election stakeholders whose activities could impact the quality and outcome of the election process, hence the need to hold them accountable for their actions.
I feel that we really don't hold the political parties accountable enough. Every cycle of election, they go to sign, peace accord. And then we know that before elections, you have incidents of violence traceable to some of these political parties. That would also be something that the police can also use to say, look, you are part of this. Your members have done this. How can we hold them, responsible? That's one. Then the law enforcement and security agencies. I was an election observer in Liberia. They don't even have enough policemen. The culture there is not for political parties to encourage thugs to go and hijack ballot papers and so on. It didn't happen.
In another response, Jide Ojo, a political analyst, wants INEC to be more proactive, especially with regards to crisis communication.
INEC should be able to ensure effective communication with the public. Have a robust citizen contact center where people can get authentic information about whatever is happening. And there should be no sacred cow within the commission. When any of your staff is deemed to have done wrong, ensure that they are properly handed over to security agents for investigation and possible prosecution.
Political elites and their activities are largely responsible for the trust deficit that plagues INEC, Jide Ojo says.
I put the bulk of the blame on the political elite, the political class, who will stop at nothing, who organize, who believes in using Machiavellian principle of the end justifies the means as basis for electoral victory. And that is what has created this doubt, this cloud of doubt and trust deficit in our system.
Speaking at a roundtable on re-examining the role of critical stakeholders in rebuilding trust in the electoral process, the Director of Voter Education and Publicity, Marian Kem, gave updates on infractions committed during the 2023 election.
About 19 case files were prepared for the Commission and filed for various jurisdictions of courts in Nigeria. It is worthy to note that out of this, 3 out of these 19 case files have been concluded and convictions secured against them. So the Commission is working, but we do not work alone. We work harmoniously with other organizations. And we should work together, play a role that will enable us to have the kind of election that we want to have.
The electoral umpire is expected to conduct by-elections resulting from the resignation or death of members of the National and State Houses of Assembly. The vacancies occurred across 2 senatorial districts, 4 federal constituencies, and 3 state constituencies spanning 9 states of the Federation. The Commission is also conducting rerun elections in 35 constituencies as directed by various Election Petition Appeals Tribunal. Sagir Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Abuja.
This is a news update on Trust Television. Up ahead, retired police personnel protest against performance of pension scheme. This and more when we return. Please do stay with us. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. And if you're just joining us, this is Trust TV's news update. Let's take a look at some of our stories. Terrorists dressed in hijab attack police checkpoint, kill 2 inspectors in Katsina. Victims of Mango attack narrate ordeal. Now to more news. The chairman of the Senate and House of Representatives Committees on Upstream, Downstream and Midstream of the National Assembly expressed their commitment to enact essential amendments to the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative (NATI) Act. This pledge was made during a meeting with the global leadership of the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. The report.
The Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative (NEIT) Act, while aiming to promote transparency and accountability in the management of Nigeria's oil, gas, and mining revenues, has faced several challenges. Some of these challenges include funding, complexity of audits, poor sectorial linkages, aggressive public education and enlightenment, amongst others. Speaking on behalf of the Federal Legislature, Chairman, Senate, and House Committees on Upstream, says the 10th National Assembly will use its power to solve the challenges confronting the industry.
We are committed in achieving it. We must get the job done. Nigeria must return back to where we used to be. In the next few days, we'll be celebrating 20 years. And for us here, we see it as an achievement.
Our agenda is targeted at introducing key amendments to the Petroleum Industry Act so as to ensure stronger provisions for clean energy transition. We also focus on reviewing the NATI Act to grant NATI statutory powers to implement the findings of their investigation.
Earlier, Deputy Executive Director of EITI, Badi Balde, who led the team, says the purpose of NEITI is to ensure Nigerians benefit from her natural resources. Balde, while commending Nigeria for the implementation of EITI Act, called for the need to review the NEITI Act. On his part, Executive Secretary NEITI acknowledged that NEITI has recorded giant stride in achieving slots in the extractive sector of the country.
The senior members of the executive branch have made the commitment to attend to this issue promptly with due care to make sure that work is done in an open and transparent manner, that to avoid undue political interference in that process, but rather to make sure that members appointed to such an important body have the capacity, the technical expertise.
We have already developed a national response comprehensive action plan, which we have shared with all the agencies concerned. And we're going to share them also with the relevant committees to look at, to help your tracking, monitoring, and legislative oversight.
The NEITI boss, while expressing commendation for National Assembly support, says the visit by EITI has been very expository for them.
The retired police officers in Katsina State have again staged a peaceful protest against their continuous inclusion in the contributory pension scheme. At the protest on Thursday, the protestants appealed to relevant authorities to address their demands. The report.
These protesters are not happy that they are part of the contributory pension scheme, which they say is subjecting them to untold hardship after retirement from the service. They are therefore demanding their exit from the system.
Under the scheme, have been facing series of difficulties ranging from non-able to feed well. Most of our children have been driven away from schools. We cannot be able to cater for their school fees. Many things. If defined benefit is a disaster, we, the police retirees under the contributory pension, we are 100% ready to be under the defined benefit system.
One of the protesters, Esther Marcos, said her entitlement, which is nothing to write home about, as it cannot cater for her needs, has been worsened by the scheme.
Government to do is that we want a total exit from this scam. This is wickedness. Our police retirees are dying by the day. How can you, somebody like me that is collecting a DSP in the police, is still collecting 40,000 naira for the past 4 years? 40,000, there is no increase, nothing to write home about. 40,000. With the way that things have moved, things are increasing by the day. You are still paying me the same 40,000. How do you want me to survive?
The retirees also expressed dismay with the rate at which serving police personnel are dying due to insecurity in the country and call on the federal government to address the menace. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar on Thursday asked President Bola Tinubu to account for the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL's) $3.3 billion emergency crude repayment loan. In a statement, the 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) wondered why the only information available to the public on the mega deal is coming only through sources from the NNPCL. He claimed that a special purpose vehicle called Project Gazelle Funding Limited is driving the deal, and it was incorporated in the Bahamas. A few weeks ago, the federal government received $2.25 billion out of the $3.3 billion FX facility from the African Export-Import Bank. NNPCL August last year secured a $3.3 billion emergency crude repayment loan from the African Export-Import Bank to stabilize the foreign exchange market. And away from Nigeria, the Economic Community of West African States on Friday says that a planned negotiation mission to engage with military leaders in Niger faced disruption due to technical issues with a chartered aircraft. ECOWAS had imposed stringent sanctions on Niger following a coup in July that ousted President Mohamed Bazoum. Despite these sanctions, the regional body is attempting negotiations to facilitate a transition back to civilian rule in the country. The scheduled meeting faced setbacks when only Togo's foreign minister attended, leading to criticism from Niger's military-appointed prime minister, who accused ECOWAS of bad faith. ECOWAS stated its intention to reschedule the mission at the earliest opportunity. Niger's leadership had sought an opportunity to address differences with ECOWAS states, emphasizing their commitment to returning power to a civilian administration after a 3-year interim period. Meanwhile, Robert Desi, Togo's foreign minister, has been engaged in mediating with the coup regime. Salem Bazoum, the son of the ousted president, was released on January 8 and is currently in Togo. Niger's leadership initiated 2024 with a push for regional talks preceding a national dialogue to outline a roadmap for the transition back to civilian rule. And in sports, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp said on Friday he will leave at the end of the season in a surprise decision. The news comes after 8.5 years at the helm and with 4 trophies still to contest before the campaign is up. Klopp wants everyone to pull together in an attempt to write another successful chapter in his team's story. Liverpool are 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League, and the 56-year-old will be hoping to go out on a high by winning the title again. And with that, we've come to the end of the news at this hour. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms for more news, programs, and documentary. On behalf of myself and the production team, thanks for watching.